Wow, this is a ridiculous thing to say, but the first time I saw this gentleman was in 2003 at the Wedgwood Rooms. I was 14 years old, and now we're here with Wednesday 13. How the hell are you?
Good. Wedgwood Room. Was that in Portsmouth?
Yes, it was.
I was just talking about that show. Maybe not that show, or maybe the year later we played that place and we were in the dressing room and a fire broke out upstairs and they rushed everybody out and it was sold out and we couldn't get out and everybody was stopping us for autographs and there was smoke and you could smell it. And I went, is this how it ends? Does it end this good?
Yeah.
Burning with my fans?
Because I think it was 2000, because you did Murderdolls 2003, and it was Wednesday 13.
It was 2004. 2004 and
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It's been a while.
That was me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, how has the tour been going so far?
Amazingly good. It's been packed. It's been sold out every other night, and it's a good feeling to have that. So especially after this long of a time of being on tour and just, getting a sold out show is not something that normally happens for me, and we've had like 8 of them so far. So it's been good. So I know that my fans are still there. That's a good feeling because the world changes and people change their musical likes the way that they change their socks, and luckily my fans don't change their socks.
No, we don't. I was going to say, because it has been obviously a long time. It was like 22 years since Beyond the Valley, and I was going to ask. So when you record an album like that, and it gets such a positive reaction, especially over here, I think in the US it wasn't as big, but over here it was bigger in the UK.
Yes.
But when you first listen, you've recorded the album, you're sitting down and you go for the listen through, and you're like, wow, this is something that's going to, the longevity of this album, because it's still, 22 years later, people are still listening to it daily, still talking about it.
Love it.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. I mean, for me, it was a big deal then. It's a big deal now. I'm just glad that it's lasted. It's the test of time is true with this. And when I first heard that was my first produced big record. I never heard my music sound that way, So I'd recorded a lot of those songs before, so to hear them polished and produced and drums on them with Joey doing his drum style, it was just so I knew we had something special, and I just didn't know where it would connect, and the UK just blew up. I mean, I got my first and only silver record plaque from this album, and that was 20 years ago when I got that. That was 60,000 copies in the UK 20 years ago. So I don't know what it's sold now. Maybe I'll get another plaque. Give me a plaque.
We'll make it gold this time.
Yeah.
But so obviously, Murderdolls is what we're playing a lot of tonight. When you first get a phone call from Joey Jordison, because at that time, the early 2000s, Slipknot were blowing up. There was just before I.O. and all that sort of thing. So they're a big deal. And you get a phone call from Joey going, do you want to be in a band with me? How crazy is that moment?
It was a good thing I wasn't a fan of him. Because I wasn't a Slipknot fan. I knew who they were, but it wasn't like, oh my God, Slipknot called me. I was like, Slipknot called me? Why is this happening? And Joey loved that I wasn't a Slipknot fan. He genuinely loved that. And he would let me make fun of Slipknot in front of him. So I would. Just like anybody, you make fun of. I make fun of myself as much, but it was just kind of like he'd be like, he didn't care, and he loved that I wasn't starting a band with him because I was a super fan. He liked me as much as I liked him. Our personalities fit well, and it worked. I don't know how it happened that way, but we found each other.
Yeah,
and that speaks for. I mean, it's just we created something special, and I don't understand. The rock and roll gods put us together. They just went, all right, you guys have to meet, and we did, and it changed my life.
I was going to say, because the early 2000s definitely was. It seemed, in a sort of commercial sense, rock music in general was just at its sort of peak. You had Linkin Park selling 20 million albums, like Papa Roach. And then Roadrunner were just releasing albums every 32 seconds. There was another band appearing. It just seemed like a really cool, creative time. It was rock then.
It was, and I got to be a part of it before it all went off the rails. and labels quit and stopped, and the music's changed. I've survived a lot of landscapes and styles, and new metal was on its way out when Murderdolls came in, and then emo came on, and then metal came back, and then it's just a lot of shit's changed, and so being able to still do this and stay relevant and mean something it says something.
See, another thing with like Murderdolls 2013 and every other project you've been a part of, like the visual aspect of what you do it seems to me that it's a big part. Like, is it a really important part for you to get out creatively how you're feeling with the way you dress and everything's presented?
I mean, I've always wore my influences on my sleeve, and the bands that I grew up idolizing are the bands I still listen to today, and they created this look. I mean, Kiss and Alice Cooper and those kind of bands influenced this look, Motley Crue, and that's what a rock band was supposed to look like in my eyes, and I just sort of adapted that look, and it's became my look now, and here I am at 48 years old, still dressing like those guys. So I blame them, but it's just part of me. It's like there's just a style to what I do and what I represent. I represent all those bands I'm talking about. Those are the bands. When I discovered Motley Crue and Twisted Sister, I loved those bands, and then I wanted to know what made them sound like that. And then they were like, oh, well, Sweet and T-Rex and Mata Hoople and David Bowie and I'm like, okay, and it all makes sense. So, that influenced me, and I have to carry that flag. Yeah. And there's not a lot of people that do that these days, so I carry it proudly.
I mean, I still pretty much just have the new metal look from when I was a teenager.
That's all right.
I've never grown up from
it's
that.
A look. It's a look.
White socks, everything else black.
Yes, that works. Hey, black and white.
It's a good combo.
Can't go wrong.
So I asked fans some questions, and there's always one that was pretty consistent. Everyone was kind of asking it, which is, what is your favorite touring memory with Joey?
Lots. I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to. There's so many. I mean, I split everything up in the 2 album cycles, because the first tour and the second tour were completely different, and we did completely different things, and some good, some bad on both of those. But the favorite touring memory. One time we were on a airplane back from Japan, and we hit some really bad turbulence, and everybody on the plane was screaming. And it was terrifying. And we thought we were going to die, so we just started drinking everything we possibly could. And by the time it balanced out, we were so drunk, we didn't care. And Joey got so drunk, he vomited all over himself, red wine, and it looked like blood everywhere. And he had red wine all over this Motley Crue shirt. And he's laughing so hard, and I'm laughing so hard too. And there's a picture of us somewhere where he's just, there was no phones like we have now, of course, but it was like a wind-up picture. But I was just like, oh my God, it looked like blood, and he was laughing so hard about it. And that was one of my favorite airplane memories. And we did shit like that all the time. Yeah. But that was a pretty cool, scary thing, and we turned something scary into something really funny.
I do love the idea of planes going down. Fuck it.
Oh, that's exactly what he did. And we're just laughing. We're like in the middle of literally thinking we're going to die. We're like laughing like madmen. So, yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go, that's the way to go.
Go with a smile.
So I have got some fan questions we'll get onto in a little bit. But
right.
I always like to know, with songwriters, what is your favorite lyric you've ever written?
There's lots.
Or just one of your top ones that comes to your mind straight away.
There was one the other day I heard, and I was like, oh, that was always a good one. Murderdolls. This is a really difficult question. I really haven't thought about that. But I'll give you a lyric from a new song.
Yeah.
That I on the new album that I can think of. It made me happy. You in a casket. That sounds fantastic. Coming at you, April 2025.
Oh, I do love that.
Yeah, so that's a new one. I can't think of an old one, but that's my newest favorite one. It made me laugh, and it made the record.
Yeah. It's kind of made me kind of chuckle, which is kind of the whole, your sort of
exactly.
tongue in cheek at points, but
tongue right in the cheek. All around it. Lap it up.
Right, so like I said, we got some fan questions. So Kimberly wanted to know if you'd ever seen the Noise Boys in Vegas in the 90s, as they have apparently a very similar style, apparently.
No, I didn't get out of North Carolina till 2002. Never made it to the West Coast till then, so if they weren't in Metal Edge or VHS, I probably didn't see it. I'm not familiar with them, which is odd because I usually know most of the hair metal bands.
Yeah.
So
no, I haven't heard of them either.
Yeah.
So
they must not be that good if I didn't hear of them.
You just do it better.
Exactly.
Amber wants to know, this is actually a question that quite a lot of people asked, which was, have you considered doing any sort of tours or anything with the anniversary of any other projects that you've been a part of instead of just Murderdolls? Because you've been in so many different, different bands.
No, because the cool thing with this band now is if I need to celebrate something, we can just add it into the set. So to veer off and do side projects, I don't have enough energy to even do that anymore. That was fun back in the day, and it did help shape things the way they are now. But as far as doing anything, if I do anything outside of Wednesday 13 now, it's going to be a movie. So that'll be the next thing I tackle. But yeah, nothing else I really want to. I don't think I want to do any. I'm proud of all the stuff. The Gunfire 76 stuff, I wish people knew it a little better, because then I would do that. But I don't think anybody really knows it. So to sprinkle a couple of those songs in my set is probably as good as it's going to get with that.
So you said about a movie. Is that directing, acting, or writing?
All of it.
All of it. Nice.
Acting last. I don't really want to do that. But I will throw on a mustache and cut my own head off on a camera to give me a chance.
Oh, I like that. So I'm guessing it would have to be a horror film.
Something horribly awful in it will happen.
So Francesca wants to know, is there a song that you'd wished you'd written by another artist?
Wish I would have wrote. There's lots of great songs. Alice Cooper's Cold Ethel is my favorite necrophilia song. I mean, he's singing, Ethel, Ethel, refrigerator heaven. It's just funny, and so that'd be the one. I Love the Dead, Alice Cooper, another. He's got so many good ones. Dead Babies. I wish I would have wrote the first Dead Baby song. So, but maybe I'll write the last one.
I mean, anything by Alice Cooper is just awesome.
Yes.
I love the fact that I saw an interview with him, and he was. I just kind of forget that he was around with Elvis and the Rat Pack, and he was telling a story of how he was in Vegas in a lift with the Rat Pack going up to meet Elvis. I was like, "What is this? What is?"
He smoked weed with Jimi Hendrix. He's done everything, and he's outlasted everybody. He'll outlive me.
He probably will.
Yeah.
Him and Ozzy, for some reason, they both will survive everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what we got? So Claire wants to know, what is your favourite song to perform?
Favorite song to perform? I don't know that I have a favorite song to perform. There's a lot of songs I like. I don't really perform ones I don't like. I just leave them off the list.
Oh, yeah. It's your show. You can do what you want.
On this tour, Summertime Suicide's always a fun one to see because the crowd sings it every night. And it was one of those songs the label told us, you've got a hit song if you change the lyrics. And I went, it's still a hit song with our fans. And you'll see it every night. Like, it's just like, it's like a Journey song. It's like, Don't Stop Believing for Murderdoll fans.
Yeah. Yeah. The amount of people I speak to when they say the record label said this and we ignored them and it was still perfect for the fan base because they just don't know their fans.
We didn't have the label telling us too much, but that was one. They were just like, this song is really good, but we'll never get Suicide on the radio. And I'm like, well, okay. Oops.
We got other ways.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of people asked this question, which we can pass if you want to. But Christopher said, so you've got several songs about being drunk and things like that. Like now that you are sober and you've been sober for a while, do those songs hit differently? Such are there songs that you kind of don't want to play, like don't want to be associated
No, not at all. I'm very happy with my hell-raising past. All those songs were done in fun, and you know, so no, I don't look back and regret on any of that stuff. That made me who I am and built me up. So no, I don't ever think like that. It's like, oh man, I can't play this song because I'm talking about. I don't focus on lyrics like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've never been a person that goes, oh, I got to sage the stage and go out and, you know, I'm fucking singing Slip My Wrist, you know, and Rambo half the time. So it's, yeah, I don't get that deep with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And I love the fact that, because I think, we were discussing this earlier, that kind of like the rock star image, I think, has changed a lot now from like when I was younger as a kid.
It's changed completely. It used to be acceptably cool to be a drug addict, drunk wastoid at all times, which is why you see most of my old interviews were drunk, drug addict wastoids at all times. We followed the rules. Now everybody's breaking the rules and being pussies and drinking water, going to bed. We don't need this.
But I love the fact that's
wake up.
But it's now acceptable. I love the fact that it has changed. And
right. Although I went to bed last night at like 12.
Is that early or late? No. I can't tell.
Yes.
That's back in the middle. Like,
but I'm jet lagged too, so I'm really up later than it seems.
Yeah. All right. I know we haven't got long because obviously you've got a meet and greet to get to. So I read an interview earlier where you were talking about horror toys, and you got a horror toy collection, which I love this fact because I've recently started collecting zombie gnomes for my garden.
Oh, zombie gnomes are good. Yes.
But like, so I personally think that Captain Spaulding is possibly the greatest horror character created in the last 20 years.
Absolutely. I would agree with you. 100%. And that guy is just like that outside of that makeup. Sid Haig was killer. I got to know him. I got to drink moonshine with him. He was awesome. I did several conventions with him, and he was great. And Rob bringing a lot of that cast back from their old movies just gave them a new life. So killer character. Like he's tattoo worthy.
Yes, he is.
He's tattoo worthy, and he was one of my favorite characters.
So in recent years, what is your favorite horror film that you've seen?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of new horror movies. It's just they don't do a whole lot for me. So my favorite horror movie I've seen in the last 10 years is the movie Mandy with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yeah.
It was weird. It was bizarre, and it made me feel uneasy. And then at the end, I felt like I needed to watch it again and again. And I loved it. I don't know, but that's my favorite weirdo movie that I've seen in a long time. I'm sure there's another one I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
But new horror, that's the most recent thing I've seen that I liked.
That's cool. Right. One last question before we go. So you mentioned a new album in April 2025. So what's going on with this then? This is very exciting news.
Yes, I've recorded it already. It's being mixed and mastered, and when we get back from this tour, we start doing photos and videos and all that. So at the first of the year, you'll be getting a new single, and we're announcing a new USA tour tomorrow morning, which gets set up for that. And then next year, we'll be back over here probably this time again, supporting that album. So I can't tell you the title, but it's funny. And the album is a return back to kind of where I started with the first couple albums. It's rock and roll. It's fun. It's dumb. It's everything that I think you want in a Wednesday 13 record, and some new stuff on top that you're not expecting.
That's amazing. I'm so glad we're getting some more Wednesday 13.
Number 10, album number 10. I had to make this one. The one next year is 20th anniversary of album number 1. So this one had to be as good, if not better, than Transylvania. So I tried. It's up to you to decide.
Oh, that's amazing news and a perfect way to end it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Really looking forward to this evening. Yeah, it's just awesome to meet you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Good interview.
Awesome.
Excellent.